Tara, welcome to Halloween Daily. Thank you so much for hanging out and talking to us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun.
Well, we're as we're recording this, we're just a couple hours away from the premiere of The Faceless Lady, and it's going to be the first two episodes premiering tonight, and I've been able to watch the first two episodes in advance, and I really like what I'm seeing so far, and I was fascinated to learn that this story, the mythology of the Faceless Lady, is inspired by some real life Irish folklore. And obviously, every day is Halloween for us, so we're fascinated with all things Ireland and the history of Ireland and folklore and all that. So I was wondering if we could start there, and you could tell us a little bit about that and growing up in Ireland, if you were familiar with this story.
Well, yeah, growing up in Ireland, there was a lot of folklore. But this was one that I had heard of before, and it was so it is based on a story of a real person called Lady Margaret. And she lived in, I think it's Belville Castle in Cork. And there was an actual, this all plays into our show, but there was a lord who thought she was the most beautiful person in the world and was trying to convince her to marry him. And she was like, absolutely not interested. And she, I believe, starved herself for like a year. He was trying to like they lay siege on the village to try to get to her, and she just starved herself until when he finally got to her, she was like a shell of a human, and she was like, I refuse you. And then the legend goes that she haunts the castle through reflective surfaces and mirrors. So all of that is kind of the inspiration behind our series, which is I think it's literally just, an extreme version of that and a different castle, different place. That's it. But yeah, no, it's a cool one. It's really cool because it's like to me, it's such a like modern feminist story that we're getting to tell with these modern characters in a modern setting. So it's kind of like come full circle.
That's a great point. That yeah, I mean, it is a story that from centuries ago, and now here it comes full circle in today's context. And again, I just love that it is based on some actual existing folklore out there, and just kind of a slightly more extreme version of that. So for our audience that hasn't got a chance to watch it yet, and as they're watching, like I said, the first two episodes will be out. This is a VR series. It's a first of its kind. Can you describe a little bit what audiences are in for?
Yeah, I think the thing that really sets this type of viewing apart is it's so immersive. It's more of an experience. And it's really like coming at you from like every, because it's a 180 degree, like all around you. You can actually watch it multiple times because you can watch it and you can kind of, hone in on a couple characters because it really is like even when we were filming, we would have to block and shoot the scenes almost like theater because you're taking in so much of the space. So, you're picking up on little things with characters that in a regular TV series you wouldn't be able to see because they're out of shot. So it just means that you're really experiencing things coming at you, coming down on you. The scares are like 180 degrees and you can watch it and get different things each time and kind of get the different quirks and stories. There's like all these like micro stories going on. So I would say it's just more of an experience. You were really in the castle. You really feel like you're in that space. So yeah, I think it's a lot scarier in that sense because everywhere you look, there's something waiting for you.
And it is, like you said, a completely immersive experience if you're watching it in VR, like I know a lot of people will. And was that something that initially attracted you to this project? Was the fact that it was going to be using this new technology?
Yeah, absolutely. Eli Roth, obviously you see
Yeah.
his name and you're like, oh fuck, like okay, so he's a trailblazer in himself. And then knowing that this was a really what felt quite historic, like a real step forward in technology, kind of felt like an honor. And that was really the feeling on set as well with all of the cast and all of the crew. There was moments where we were having to really think on our feet and adapt and think of things that have never been done before and how we can overcome them. And so a lot it was that there was never one moment that it kind of that we didn't feel actively grateful for the position that we were in and what we were a part of. So yeah, I think it was hugely a thing for me to get to be a part of something like that.
And you mentioned a little bit of it a minute ago, but can you talk a little bit more about how it was different shooting for VR and creating, like you said, this completely immersive atmosphere where viewers are going to be able to like you said hone in on different aspects. How was it different in comparison to other projects you've worked on?
Yeah, so John, our director, really kind of set this for us. Like he really kind of let us in on this before we started. He was like, just so you know, this is going to be very different to what you've done before. We're really going to have to think of this as theater. And we rehearsed before we even blocked anything, we rehearsed everything as if it was theater, and that was so different to me. And then it was even like in the blocking of the scenes where with a standard setup, you could have people kind of standing around in any order. He was pointing out things like, it needs to be more dynamic because of the way the camera picks things up. We really need people in the background and the foreground. We need people to be everywhere so that it's not just falling flat. Like if we're taking in this space, we really need to be using this space. And then it was really interesting what he was learning kind of on the go as well, and what he realized really quickly was is that when we're close on you, we're really close. So that's when you can play things small. And he's like, but when we're away from you, we are really far away from you. And I'm going to tell you guys at that point to play it a little bit bigger because we need to be able to read you almost like, you're on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then I think, something that we didn't even really realize until a couple days into it is when you're used to seeing, like as the actor, when you're used to seeing the crew around you, you kind of get used to like where, what the standard setups and the standard shots. And so you kind of know that when it's your close up, that it's really, shoulders and up.
Mm-hmm.
But with this, your whole body language, like everything, like, head to feet, you're in it all the time. So you can't be lazy. You've got to be active. You've got to be on all the time. So, but I think that was great because it meant that we were all there for each other at all times, never knowing really where the camera could go. And so, yeah, it was just more full on, I guess.
It definitely sounds like there was a lot more to consider going into it. Like you said, a lot more like theater than a
Yeah.
traditional shoot. Where was this shot?
This was a castle. I
Okay.
think it was called like Charleville, I think. Charleville Castle, in Ireland, and it was near Tullamore. And this, if you believe in like in ghosts and all that stuff, like this is a haunted castle. And we were shooting it over October and November, like on Halloween, we were doing a night shoot there, and we had crew like doing seances, like up in the, there was some really creepy stuff. Like one of us, I think it was Sophie actually, she had to start a scene like up in this room at the top of the stairs. And she was like, guys, you don't want to like look in that room. It's terrifying. And in real life, this stairwell that we were working in real life in like the 1800s, a little girl had sadly fallen down the stairs, and the legend has it that she haunts this stairwell. And at the top of the staircase in the room that Sophie was starting from, it was all of her childhood things, like her crib, her toys, her dollhouse. And it was like it was just all very spooky and kind of felt like we were still in someone's home. And that really helped because we were terrified the entire time, like the entire time.
Well, that's awesome to hear that it was shot actually during Halloween season. Of course, I love hearing that and actual haunted castle too. So, um, can you talk just for a minute about your character and what drew you specifically to this character?
Yeah, I think Ella just felt like what I needed to do at that time. Like she to me was she was ever changing. I mean, all the characters were really ever changing because I think as they were cast, the whole creative team were so generous in the fact that they were like, we want you to make these characters your own. Um, so there was things about Ella that just kind of were like, okay, she's clearly someone who is going through a bit of an existential crisis. She's trying to figure herself out. She doesn't really want to be going back to Ireland. There's clearly some things there that she doesn't want to have to face, but she's brave and she's facing them. And for me, it just felt like there was these themes of mental health, PTSD, people telling her, without giving away any spoilers of things to come in later episodes, but people telling her things about herself and about her mind that might necessarily not have been true. And I just thought she was really brave. And I thought I had gone through so many kind of similar things that it felt like it could be quite cathartic for me to use these things. That's what you hope for as an actor, I guess, is that when you go through difficult times in life, that you can then, streamline that through a character. So I had all this pent up emotion that I thought, okay, fantastic. Here's like, this is cheaper than therapy. And then I just really wanted to do like a really badass horror heroine. Like that's something that I've really wanted to do. Eli Roth has been, a goal for me to work on an Eli Roth project. And the physicality as well and getting to do stunts and things like that. So it really ticked a lot of boxes. It was like, okay, here's the genre that you want, the creative team that you want, and a character that's got a lot of internal stuff going on rather than it being outward all the time. So yeah, I just thought she was cool. She was a cool girl that was very loud in her mind.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm sure horror fans are going to love checking this series out. Before we let you go, if you'll indulge us for just a minute, we are Halloween Daily. Every day is Halloween. And you mentioned working through Halloween shooting this. Do you yourself celebrate Halloween, look forward to Halloween like we do?
I love Halloween. It used to be like Christmas, Halloween, and as I get older, like, and actually it was so upsetting because we were working over Halloween on this, so it's like the first year that like I haven't been able to celebrate. But yeah, usually I as many parties as I can find, as many things as I can do, as many horror movies as I can watch. I'm a big Halloween fan for sure. We had plans that we were gonna do Zoolander, the comedy. So we
Yep.
were gonna do, and me and Stas were gonna be Derek and Hansel, and then night shoots just got the better of us. So we'll just keep that in the locker for series two.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. We'll look forward to those Instagram posts of those costumes too. That sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So our last question, two questions really before we go. We always ask everybody your favorite Halloween costume that you've worn and your favorite Halloween candy.
Favorite Halloween costume. The first one that comes to mind is I went as Alabama Worley from True Romance a few years ago because that's my favorite movie and she's my favorite character. And I'll try and find a photo, but I think I nailed it. And then what was your second question?
Favorite Halloween candy or treat?
Ooh, okay. Marshmallows. I don't know if that's what you call them in America. I am obsessed with marshmallows, and I'm filming in Shetland at the moment, and it's the most isolated place, and they happen to be marshmallow specialists. I'm like, in what world is this? Is this where I found myself? So I'm in heaven right now. Anything marshmallow with like a marshmallow center. And then the American candy that I really like is it's like Butterfinger peanut butter bars, and then these like Charleston chews are like a really retro. They're marshmallow, right?
Yep.
Anything marshmallow. I swear down.
Awesome. Well, I love those picks, and yeah, Alabama from True Romance. That's an awesome pick. I could see that. I could picture that now that you say that, and I love that movie too. So
Dream character, dream movie. Yeah, for sure.
awesome, awesome. Well, Tara, thank you so much for taking the time and talking to us today. I'm sure our audience is gonna love the Faceless Lady, and from what I've seen so far, it's awesome, and your work in it is great.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been so great to talk to you. And yeah, I hope people enjoy it. I think, yeah, with the headset as well, it just gives you like such a immersive experience. So I'm so excited to see the response. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
Absolutely. Thank you again. And we always hate to say goodbye, but every day's Halloween. So instead, I just always say Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you. Oh my gosh, I'm so stealing that.